Welcome to the Social Lady Show, where we talk about business, life, and everything in between. Today I have a special guest, Daniel Priestley, the best-selling author of 4 books on entrepreneurship. He's also the founder of Dent Global, an accelerator that works with entrepreneurs, business owners, and executives. And we're going to hear about it in just a second. And also Score Up, a lead generation software. Daniel, how are you today, my friend?
Hey Tal, thanks for having me on the show. It was lovely to meet you on Clubhouse the other day. Nice to
Yeah,
actually
you
see
too.
you, not just
Yeah.
hear you.
You too, as well. Even the ocean is between us. It feels like you're right next to me, drinking a coffee on on an afternoon. It's so
It's the
cool.
nice start to your day. It's the end of my day here in London, in the UK. About to put three little babies to bed. So
Oh,
it's
so you had some time for me. I'm so happy for that. Thank you so much for your time.
very, very much.
So tell me a little bit about your books. I know that they've been, bestsellers, and I'm sure everyone wants to hear about them a little bit more. I'm so curious.
Uh, yeah, when I was 21 years old, I started a company in Australia, and it grew very quickly. It went from 0 to 1 million in the first year, and then 1 to 11 million in the 2 years after that. And basically, I was able to build a very fast growth business. I was able to spend a lot of time with incredible mentors, and I started writing down all my notes and all the things that I was learning. And one day someone said you should put these ideas into a book. So I wrote my first book, which was called Key Person of Influence. And it became a bestseller here in the UK. And then I got picked up by a traditional publisher. I wrote a book called Entrepreneur Revolution about the way how we're all changing the way that we live work. All of us are becoming much more entrepreneurial. All of us are becoming media businesses and tech businesses. And we have these tiny little teams and we work all over the world. So I wrote a book about that. And then I wrote a book about called Oversubscribed, and then a book about scaling called 24 Assets. So it's all there. It's that whole entrepreneur journey that we all go through, from starting up to standing out to scaling right up and exiting a business. So I was just basically writing those notes as I was going through that journey myself.
I can tell you that as an entrepreneur myself, I would love to read your book. I didn't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. By the way, where we can find it if we want, all the books, each one of
I've,
them.
I've I've hidden it. I've hidden it very, very carefully on Amazon. So you check Daniel Priest on Audible, on Amazon. You'll find all those books.
Perfect. And as an entrepreneur, there's always the questions like, how do I evolve? The world is changing so fast. So many new technologies, new apps coming out, so many new things to learn all the time. How do you keep it up? I mean, how do you scale your business? I know you have also an agency, or not an agency, but the accelerator basically is kind of an agency, that how do you really scale up and keep on track on everything that's going on in the world and teaching all that, how do you do that?
Well, for me personally, it's about having a great team. So I've got teams of teams. So essentially, my accelerator business operates on the three major time zones. We've got about 12 people on each of the time zones who runs the accelerator for that time zone. And then I've got about 7 other companies that one has its own team. So each business has a leader and a 2IC, a second in command. We've got an award-winning film production business, a book publishing company that has about 400 different authors that we've signed, an IT services company, and the startup. I recently just bought a business that is a PR company that helps companies to win awards. So basically, I'm always looking for talented people. I love who are passionate. I love people who work well in teams and who I can help them and resource them and get them going. How do I stay on top of it? For me personally, just being surrounded by really passionate people and having passionate conversations and absorbing it. Clubhouse is a great way to stay on top of stuff. Just hearing what everyone's up to is really cool.
Amazing. Me as an agency myself with, a team and people around me, I can totally relate to what you're saying. And there's always a journey to teach everyone and to make sure everyone is, scaling and growing and leveraging themselves. And it's really amazing. And, I have a lot of entrepreneurs coming and asking, how to start their own business. How did you start your journey? Like, where did you start? You've been doing so many things, and where was your starting point? And how do you, what are the key points that you can give to someone who's just starting their business online or offline?
When I was 19, I dropped out of university. I was really, none of my university lecturers had ever started a business. I went to university. I thought that I was going to be learning from entrepreneurs because I took a course in entrepreneurship, and none of them were entrepreneurs. So I dropped out. And I was so lucky that when I dropped out, I went and started working in a startup. I was employee number three, and the business took off and grew to about 60 people in the first 2 years. And I got to be literally hand with the founder. We spent, so much time together. He taught me so much. He was about 17 years older than I was, and I just shadowed him around. So from 19 to 21, I was just working as many hours as I could, learning absolutely everything I could. And then I went and started my own company, and it took off. So I copied what I'd learned, and I built a multi-million-dollar company very quickly. But the thing that I would say to everyone is do 1 to 2 years of apprenticeship, like work for an entrepreneur. So the best thing you could possibly do if you want to start a great company, work for someone who's a genius um, for about 2 years. If you look at PayPal was Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, and there was 7 or 8 core team members who worked for Peter and for Elon, and they were all the core group of people. That core group of people went off to start YouTube, LinkedIn, Salesforce, the PayPal mafia, all went off and they started these great companies. And I think it's no accident. It's the fact that when you see it up close and you see what other people are doing, when you work closely with a genius, you learn so many things. So a lot of people, they want to go out straight away and start a business. I'm a big fan of doing one is working for somebody who fast growth company if you can.
Yeah, that's a great tip. You've been cutting off a little bit, but I totally agree that surround yourself with people who are successful and done that. Been through the journey. This is super important, and that's so valuable to know. And what was your like? What were your when you were young? Did you ever think you're going to be an entrepreneur? What did you have an entrepreneurial spirit? Is it something that is you have it from young age, or it changed with time? And I'm asking it because a lot of people are thinking, oh, I was never like an entrepreneur in my heart. I was never, I was always going following other people and didn't really do my own thing. Does anyone can do what you've done, or it's something that it needs to? What are your thoughts on it?
When I was 10 years old, there was accidentally a little fire in the house, and which happened when Mum was cooking, and all these things were damaged. And as a 10-year-old, I decided to clean them and sell. And I took them out and I sold them, and then I went to all the neighbors and I got their stuff and I started selling their stuff. And I made enough money to buy a bicycle and a Sega Master System computer, and and at that point, at 10 years old, I didn't have a word for entrepreneurship. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was, but I knew that I just loved this idea that you could take them and you could fix it and you could sell it and you could make money by solving problems. And I just had this in my head that something bad happened, this little fire, and I've turned it into money, and I can buy a computer and a bike. And all I could think of was this idea that problems become opportunities, and that little things that go wrong, when you see something that goes wrong, that could be a business opportunity. And all throughout my teenage years, I was buying stuff and selling stuff, and I was running nightclub parties and running dance parties and all of this sort of stuff. And I was totally an entrepreneur as a teenager. All I could think about was one day I'm going to start my own business. One day I'm going to grow a business. So I was this crazy, kooky kid. Most teenage boys, they've got Playboy magazine under their bed. I was reading the E-Myth and business magazines and Forbes magazine. I just couldn't get enough of it.
That's amazing, really. That's like Yeah, that's amazing. I know I have the feeling. I'm the same way. All the girls play with Barbies, and I used to read books and organizing stuff, and collecting things from street and selling it, all kind of stuff when I was really young. I can totally relate to that. So it's so nice. And what do you do when you have like a spare time? Do you love what are the like? Do you read, or do you have time for hobbies or things that you're running multiple companies? I don't know where you get time to do anything. I mean, what is that you're doing in your free time? If you have a free time.
I have three.
Or are you
I
doing a
have
free
three
time?
babies.
Yeah,
A
that too. I
two,
mean,
yeah, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So three little kids. And yeah, all my time is running businesses, writing books, and having babies. So whenever there's spare time, we have another child.
amazing. So it's like you are company's machine, business
A
machine,
book,
and baby's machine, and books machine.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
exactly.
And what do you think? How do you, when you look at the future, Clubhouse is now in, and so many new technologies. Where do you see us as humanity? Where do you see this world is going? I mean, pandemic is happening now, and so many things around. But like, what's the future looks like? Do you think it's going to be a good place? It's going to be mixed up. It's all these technologies are going to take over our life. They already did, but what do you think? What are your
It's
thoughts on
it's
it?
gonna it's gonna. I feel like we're at the very, very end of the industrial age as we know it. The world that we grew up in, the world that we know, the world we're familiar with, a world where all the countries are peacefully cooperating and getting along. That world has come to an end now, and we're starting a different world, a different age where um, everyone has to be entrepreneurial with their career. They have to think about how they add value. The whole world is kind of in competition with each other. Every single person is in competition, number one guru in their industry globally, and they're also in competition with the tech company that gives away something that they do for free. And they're also in competition with someone in a overseas working scenario who only needs 20% of the income that they need in order to live comfortably. So this means that every single person has to change the way that we live and work. There's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. There's never been more money available. There's never been bigger market to sell to. There's never been more amazing people that you can grow to. There has never been more problems that need to solve urgently: social problems, humanitarian problems, environmental problems. So all of that means that it's the greatest time in history to be an entrepreneur, but it's also one of the hardest times ever to be just a normal person. Because if you're just a normal person, if you're not entrepreneurial, so if you grew up in America, or if you grew up in the UK or Australia, you grew up in a beautifully protected little bubble where you didn't have too much, and now the whole world is kind of reorganizing, and we've all got to think about what that means for us. I have a lot of hope that will good people will emerge, and that we will come together as a humanity, and we'll get over our differences, and we'll get over all of this polarity and polarization that's going on in the world. I really do hope that we get past that, and that we start reorganizing the way that we live and work in a really positive way.
I love the positivity that just pouring out of you. That's great, and I do hope so that it's going to happen. That the world, everyone is going to shake hands to each other and hug each other one day after the COVID is done. And we're all going to be a one unit
Burning
world.
Man, Burning Man style.
Yes, please bring it out, the Burning Man style. So tell me, if we were talking about the COVID, how did you dealt with it? Did it affect your company or your, things that you've done? Do you feel that it affected entrepreneurship? I know that you just said it's a great time to be an entrepreneur. But, COVID has brought a lot of us to be by ourselves, and also entrepreneurs that, are dealing with a lot of things, and, seed rounds that have been canceled, or investments that didn't work out because of that. Do you think it is a good time? It is going to get better, or is it going to get, for business owners and for entrepreneurs on the business side? Do you think it's going to be like
COVID is, yeah, well, COVID is the world's biggest accelerator. It accelerates the whole world to a different way of doing things. If you imagine that for 12 months, every single person has to wear roller skates. At the end of months, everyone's quite comfortable with roller skates and we all get used to wearing roller skates. So what happened is COVID got every single person used to remote working. And it said, you have to remote work, you have to do things digitally. So no one's going to go back. Like it is, the world now exists on three times. There's the European, Middle East, African time zone, there's the Asia Pacific time zone, and then there's the Americas time zone. And all that matters now is which time zones that you operate on. And you're effectively in competition with everyone in the time zone, and you have the whole market of that time zone available to you. So COVID accelerated this huge change in the world, and this changed this way that we live and we work. It massively changed my businesses. I was in 8 cities, and then we consolidated to 3 time zones. We expanded. The company grew 40% last year. We had to change things very rapidly. We had to lead 3,000 companies, 3,000 of our clients through the change as well. So we had to come up with ways and programs for our clients through that transformation, because we got 3,000 clients that we look after globally. And we started a new business in that time. So we launched a new startup ourselves, the Score App marketing technology for our clients. So I think it's a huge opportunity, massive opportunity, but things are never going to go back. This is the beginning of a new way of living. It's not a blip. The old way of living and working is completely finished, and we now need to, it's like a wave, and you're either going to surf the wave or get dumped by the wave.
So true. I always say that, about social media in general. Some people say, oh, I don't want to be in Facebook. It's not for me. It's not going to work. It's a waste of time. It's either you fight it or you go with it, and social media is here to stay. So exactly the same as you said, COVID has changed the world, and whatever happening now is just the beginning of a new revolution, a new times. Great. So much. Wow. I mean, I have so many things to ask you more, like, for example, so how, if that's okay, if I'm asking me, as as I'm married and I have a daughter, a year and 4 months, and it's always about, how do you maintain, being a father, being, a husband, being a business owner, but not just one business, but multiple business owner, being an author, being so sweet as you are, jumping on a call with me on my podcast. I mean, how do you maintain all of that? And Clubhouse, of course. How do you maintain all that together? How do you manage your time? What is that? How do you prioritize everything? I mean, I'm still learning, but would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, number one, I have an amazing executive assistant, and my executive assistant tells me what to do every single day. So every month I have a meeting about what is the most high value things that I should be doing. And we talk about, what am I trying to achieve? What's the 3-year goal? What's the 1-year goal? What's the 90-day goal? And we have a conversation. What are the important things that I should focus on? And everything goes through my executive assistant that comes through. So all my emails go through my assistant, all the opportunities go through my assistant, and basically everything gets organized, and she gets rid of most things and moves it to other people in the company.
Can you multiple her? Can you clone her, please?
Clone her. Yeah.
That should be your next startup, I think. Should be your next company.
Cloning Susie.
Exactly. Yeah, cloning exactly. Susie. That's the name. Susie's clone.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Susie's clone.
I'm in. Count me in. All right. I'm putting any money on this. Susie. I need one like that. That's great. Well, Daniel, I'm going to ask you one last question that I always bring up and I'm always curious about. Before we end, I think you're amazing and I had so much fun speaking to you. But before that, I want to ask you, if you were an animal, which one would you be and why?
uh, I probably would be a tortoise, slow and steady, robust.
Good.
Just keep forward. Yeah,
I
just
love it.
just keep stepping another step forward, another step forward, another step forward. Keep moving directionally correct, and keep stable, keep strong.
I love it. Turtles are definitely step by step reaching their goals, and I love this one. Thank you so much, Daniel. I had so much fun. Um, we should do it more often. I hope we got the connection went well. I'm not sure we're going to check it out soon, but I think this interview was amazing for me. I really had fun, and I learned a lot
Likewise.
from you. And I wish you a good evening. Here it's still morning, but for you it's probably evening after everyone is sleeping. It's your time now.
Thanks,
Um,
Tal. I'm gonna go and
yeah,
put these babies to bed,
yeah,
read
go
some
for it.
bedtime stories.
Go for it. So thank you so much. You guys are always welcome to come back to the Social Lady Show. Feel free to subscribe, like, and follow us for more episodes in the future. So thank you very much, Daniel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.